Hi, buddy.
Hi everyone, it's Jung here for Hip Kit Club, and today I'm sharing a process video on this layout I made using the 2019 January Hip Kit Club kits. For my project this week, I was challenged to use the B-sides of the pattern paper and also the Pink Fresh Studio chipboard frames. I'm just going through the pattern paper to find some that match well with the colors in my photo. Since I was challenged to use chipboard frames, I also remembered some frames that we got from the 12 Days of Giving cut files from Hip Kit Club. I decided to cut them out from these 3 pieces of pattern paper, and I would use them as layers behind my photo. These cut files did have some Christmassy words on the sides, but I took them out before I cut them. I'm just going to go through all the embellishments that I have and kind of set aside some that might work on this layout. That Celebrate Thickers pack is perfect for my layout. The photos that I'm scrapping are actually from my daughter's 2nd birthday party. She had a baby shark themed birthday party, and you'll see it on her shirt. I think I mentioned in a previous video how much this one loves the baby shark on YouTube. So I had a few things custom made off of Etsy, like that shirt. And we had a big get together with friends and family at our house, and everybody had a great time, especially my daughter when it came to her cake, as you'll see in her photos. Okay, so I just went through the Pink Fresh Studio frames, and I was deciding which ones that might make it onto the layout, and it was at this point that I decided to go with the pink, blue, and red color scheme. I'm going to end up using that pink and yellow frame that you see off to the right, but I don't want the yellow part to show because I'm not really going to use yellow anywhere else on the layout. When I was challenged to use these chipboard frames, I knew I wanted my photos to be bigger, and so I knew I didn't want to use them to frame my photos, so I thought they would be good for framing embellishments instead. I really love those layered heart stickers from Pink Fresh Studio. They're so cute and they fit really well with the colors and the theme of my layout. Alright, so now that I have a general idea of how I want my layout to be laid out, I am going to work on my background. I am going to be using the stencil and the modeling paste from this month's color kit. This modeling paste is definitely different than any I've tried before. It's by Prima, and it says that it's flexible when dry. And if you can see in the video, it has like I want to say like a silly putty texture, and it dried fairly quickly, and I can see where they're coming from that it's flexible, almost as if you spread it on your paper and you bent the paper, it would just bend along with the paper, whereas some of my other modeling pastes, if I spread it on, let it dry, and then I bent the paper, it would crack. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think that's where they're going with it being like a flexible texture. Okay, so I just used some shimmers from previous color kits. The one in the spray bottle is a spritz. It's called Cotton Candy, and the one in the pot is a creamies, and it's called Good Old Summertime, and I kind of mixed them together to make a perfect pink. And I mixed it in with the modeling paste, and I'm just going through with a palette knife and rubbing it over my stencil. I went to go clean my stencil, and when I came back, everything was dry. I made sure to use a very thin coat so it would dry faster. Now I'm just giving the layout a couple of paint splatters. I'm using a Shimmers Vibes that we got from a previous kit, and it's called Snowy Man. The modeling paste and the shimmers dried relatively quickly, so I was able to work on my layout right away. Okay, so when I laid out my photos, I decided I needed a little bit more ink splatters on the top left, and so that's what you see me doing here. Alright, so now I'm just going to lay things out and figure out where I want the embellishments to go. I know I definitely want to use this red sticker. It says Hooray for Cake, and it's got like a cardboard front with a foam backing, so it's not a chipboard sticker. As you've seen me do in my other videos, I'm just going to be pushing around embellishments here and there, trying to see what looks right. I'm not following any particular rules, I'm just trying to make my layout look balanced. So if I use that red Hooray for Cake sticker, I want to use red in other parts of my layout. I'm using that blue pattern paper, and so far that's the only dark blue thing on my layout. I want to make sure to pull in that color somewhere else on the layout as well. I'm trying to think if I have scrapped her birthday party yet or not. I just have so many photos to go through. I am that mom that takes 10 million photos and I want to edit them all. And it's such a big job, I guess I've kind of been avoiding it. But when I saw some of the items in this kit, I knew I had to make a birthday layout, especially those Celebrate thickers. I was thinking about using the cake and the cake slice on my layout, but here's the thing. They have the wrong number of candles on them. I know that's such a silly thing, but the cake had, I think, 8 or 9 candles, and the slice of cake had 4. This is my daughter's second birthday, so I didn't want to use it on my layout because it didn't have the right number of candles. Is that crazy? Let me know in the comments below. So now I'm just taking that little cluster of stars from the Chanel stamp set, and I'm just going to add to the background that I already have, and I thought the stars went really well with the stencil. The stencil is like a starburst polka dot kind of pattern, and I think they both work well for my birthday layout. So I don't know what happened to the footage of me actually stamping on the layout, but you can see there that I stamped it in 3 spots, and it's just right behind where the photos will go. Okay, so I wanted to start attaching things to my layout, and I decided that I wanted to add some machine stitching to the background frames, and I just messily went back and forth a couple of times. Since this chipboard frame is going to be tucked behind my photo, I wanted to take some of the layers out so it wouldn't be as thick, because I like using the thin foam squares, and if I left the chipboard as is, it would be too tall for my thin foam squares, if that makes sense. Okay, so now I'm just going to work on getting my chipboard frames and photos adhered to the layout. I'm going to be using a combination of score tape, liquid glue, and my favorite thin 3D foam squares. They're by Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L, I believe. The thin ones are kind of hard to find, so I usually buy them in bulk from Amazon. Okay, so you can see how I solved the issue that I had with that particular chipboard frame because I didn't want the yellow to be showing. I just hid that part underneath the photo. How cute are those photos of my daughter eating her cake? She wanted to be a big girl and eat all by herself with no help, and I have to say she did a really good job. The tray of her high chair stayed relatively clean. She didn't get frosting all over her face like I thought she would, and she got some pretty decent bites in. I'm adhering the chipboard frames with liquid glue because of the mixed media on the background. I want to make sure that they stay put and I don't want them to fall off later on. And just to hold it there while the glue dries, I'm adding some acrylic blocks that I use for stamping. Okay, so once the glue is dry, I move around some of the embellishment to see where I want to put everything. And I decide my title is going to be 2, and I use those Pink Fresh Studio Mini Alphas. And then I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and stitch it down. I'm also going to add some machine stitching to the other chipboard frames as well. Aren't those Pink Fresh Studio layered heart stickers so cute? I really love the way they look on my layout. The red one that's pointing at my daughter says happy place, and the blue one says love, and I think they're perfect on this layout. Now I'm just going through the Pink Fresh Studio ephemera, and I was looking on the back, and I love when companies put the images of what's in the pack on the back. So instead of digging through the whole pack, you can just take a quick look at the back and find what you want. And sometimes, if I remember to, I'll go back and X out the ones that I've already used. That way I know not to go looking for it when it's not there anymore. I just took my date stamp and added the date. Her birthday party was on October 21st of last year. So it wasn't that long ago, but still well overdue for a layout. So I went through the Pink Fresh Studio ephemera pack one more time to see what else I can get for my layout. I ended up choosing that blue speech bubble with the music notes. Ever since her birthday party, my daughter's been singing happy birthday in her little toddler speak, and she's been pretending to blow out candles, and it is the cutest thing ever, so I think it's perfect for this layout.
Happy D-O-E-D. Happy D-O-O-P. Happy Boo. Happy D-O-O-P.
And that would be my 2-year-old singing happy birthday, dear Ruby, over and over and over again. Okay, so back to my layout. You'll notice that I like to add extra adhesive even if it's a sticker, and I'm just taking precautionary measures because I have some layouts and page protectors from years ago where some of the ephemera or stickers will be floating down at the bottom of the page because the glue has become unstuck, most likely because the glue is just so old. I chose 3 of the glittered silver stars from the Celebrate Thickers pack. I've been all about gold, gold, gold lately, so it was nice to change it up and use silver for a change. I also am using some of the little tiny hearts from the Pink Fresh Studio puffy sticker pack, and I'm just adding them to some of the photos. I had meant to use this Heidi Swap stamp set, and I completely forgot about it, so as an afterthought, I was just trying to see what else I could add to the layout, and I settled on this happy face emoji, but honestly I could have left it out because I chose an ink color that was so light that you can barely even see it or notice it on the layout. My battery ended up dying, but I just added a couple of things. I added my journaling that I typed up on the computer and cut into strips. And then I added these little triangle pieces of pattern paper that I stitched and then glued onto the photos. You can see the texture of the mixed media on the background, and you can see kind of the dimension of the embellishments. I hope you enjoyed my process video. Don't forget to check out the January kits on the Hip Kit Club website, and that's it for me. Bye! Wait! Okay, now go.
Happy D-O-O-P. Happy Boopy Boopy. Happy Boopy.